You know, I started using at a very young age. I was 9 years old, 7 years old, and my parents separated, you know, and the addiction just progressed from 9 to 38. Before finding the grace of Jesus, I didn't know what grace was. I was a very ugly person. I was a very dark person. I believed lies about life and everything my entire life. I came to know the Lord when I was 19 years old. I was a single mom. You know, I had just had my son. I was struggling through a really bad addiction. The Lord just sent people into my life at that time that, you know, really ministered to me and, you know, told me about Jesus, and I received it immediately. And it wasn't long after that, about a month and a half after that glorious moment, you know, I relapsed, fell back into an addiction, and I ran for another 25 years. After my sister passed away in 2012, that's kind of when my addiction, you know, came to a head. I knew something was going to have to be different. You know, along came what I call a brick wall named Jesus, you know, that I was ready to tackle head first, you know. And when I took on this Jesus head first, you know, in my own moment of solitude, he took something that was broken and he completely shattered me in his presence. I was delivered from addiction in that moment. And for the next 10 years, which has been the last 10 years of my life, you know, I have followed him with everything. I was like, if you want it and you think that there's something you can do with it, you can have it, you know, because I'm done. I went into a women's transitional house, and I knew that I needed something more. I winded up at Beltway, and it's the one church that I swore that I'd never be at. And the reason being is because when my sister passed away, my niece was involved with Beltway, and she, Beltway donated the chapel for my sister's funeral. So that was my very first encounter with Beltway. And the height of my addiction, it was just the end. After my sister had passed away, I was just done. I was done with life. I was done with this addiction because I was the one who suffered from addiction my entire life. My sister was just kind of the soccer mom who dipped off into it for a few months and it killed her, you know. So I was very bitter. And God bringing me to the end of me, I was welcoming death. I was like, you know, I'm just going to sit down here and do this with you, you know, and I'm taking all your stuff and there's nothing you can do about it. The Lord so faithfully, you know, had some other plans for me. He had to separate me from, you know, society for a while. You know, I struggled and I wrestled with God and I was like, you lied. You lied to me. Even through all of it, you know, you told me you were going to heal her, you know, and you didn't. And he was like, who are you to tell me that I didn't heal my daughter? And in that moment, I broke. I mean, that was the brick wall that shattered me in those words. And I felt the hand of God. I was in a room alone by myself, and I felt the hand of God. And I mean, in that was my deliverance, you know. The addiction was gone. I haven't thought about addiction since then. I haven't, you know, wanted to use. I haven't wanted to drink. I've just wanted more of that moment. Freedom and grace in the Lord was just a lot of, you know, was found in the forgiveness, you know, forgiving myself, forgiving others, forgiving my sister. You know, I was very mad at her and I was very mad at myself that I didn't see the addiction. The Lord has been so gracious to me because he has met me in each moment along the way, because there I am by no means, you know, anywhere to where I want to be, but I'm more further every day than where I've been. It's a lot easier to show grace to other people that are not in my family because a lot of my family still struggles with addictions. I tell them about Jesus all the time and I walk the walk in front of them and I'm just like, hey, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you different than I'm doing? You know, Jesus is doing it, I'm not doing it. But just showing grace to others in addiction, you know, I've been where they've been. I've walked where they've walked. You know, I know that there's a better way, and I know who that better way is, and I know how I can introduce you to him if you want to come alongside me. I would love to share him with you. I honestly didn't know truth until I had that encounter with Jesus.